Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Sword Art Online Alicization episode review. This one's going to be for episode 15, which is called Night of the Blazing Sun. And this was a really good episode. I think I talked at the very end of last week's review about how these two girls here, obviously we get to meet them properly in this episode, Faisal and Lionel. I found it to be like one of the kind of slightly weaker sections of the books, and I think they did it actually really well here. Ultimately, it is more of a setup for the bigger fight against Finacio's Synthesis 2, the Vice Commander of the Integrity Knights. But I thought it played its role really well with just, here are two Integrity Knights who were kind of, came into being via like a different method. They were kind of test subjects basically from the very beginning, rather than sort of becoming minions of the administrator at a later point in their life. It's a super tragic backstory, and I definitely think the anime, at least just in terms of what I remember from the books, I think the anime did a better job at this, because I really don't remember their backstory standing out all that much. It was tragic, of course, to get across the idea with these characters, but I feel the way it was visually shown here, and especially just the looks on their faces throughout, of just, it's these two like cute, innocent looking girls, and you see basically how they kind of went from being sort of normal to being able to like stab Yujiro and Kirito with a smile, and how they are just kind of plotting behind the scenes to become proper Integrity Knights, and all they want to do is basically get there no matter what means necessary. And the point they're trying to make with this fight, with like the point Kirito made to them after he revealed that he was kind of onto them from the start, was just that you want to be Integrity Knights so bad, learn what it actually is to be one by watching this fight, because, you know, I suppose we see here that Kirito immediately respects all of the Integrity Knights for their power, kind of loyalty and devotion, the way they fight, that they do tend to, for the most part, accept one-on-one fights and not really resort to any kind of crazy tactics like the two girls did here. But I thought the opening scene was really well done, with just them, you know, talking, you know, acting very well, and just smile, reveal, stab. I thought it was really well done, and you knew Kirito was up to something, because, like, you know, I'm not good with kids, like, okay, but I wouldn't really associate that as a trait for Kirito, so you sort of know in the background he's plotting something. They later reveal he was, you know, chanting a kind of spell to dissolve poison from the start, and that's why he was able to just immediately get up, slash the two of them with the poison dagger, and, you know, obviously explain exactly how he came about that. And it goes to show, I suppose, the experience that Kirito has here. And that's the sort of benefit we get from having someone like Yujiro there, who has the same sort of potential as Kirito, but we're kind of seeing, I suppose, Yujiro go through the sort of Kirito development process, whereas this is Kirito as like a kind of veteran in a way, because we've seen him in such important fights so many times before. So him getting this chance to, I suppose, really just showcase how skilled he is to Yujiro, while Yujiro is sort of out of action for the start of this fight, I thought worked really well, and I think they really showed that well, with just when they have that amazingly animated, just one-on-one, they're not really focusing on sword skills, it's just, here's some really cool, well-animated sword play. It's super quick, and they cut to Yujiro, who's just like incredible, like that's how amazing this fight is. And then, like, obviously last episode sort of teased us that, oh, this is going to be the Faisal and Lionel episode, but actually the star of this episode in a way was more Finacio's Synthesis 2. And again, you know, they have her wear her armor at the start. You don't really know exactly. Kirito initially addresses her as Sir, and they try and play on that whole idea of like she's hiding her identity. And not even in the voice acting, like you can sort of tell that it was a kind of forced, kind of gruffer voice, and so it wasn't all that surprising, I suppose, just in terms of the anime here, when it was revealed that it was in fact a woman. I suppose the kind of purple hue to the armor kind of gave it away a little bit as well, but I actually liked what like they thematically did with this fight, of Kirito's never one to really kind of care about that sort of thing, and him just pointing out to her, you're the only one who's really upset and off your game because of this reveal. You trying to, I suppose, push harder because your helmet is off and you think everyone looks down on you because you're a woman. I don't care about that, and you're only kind of putting obstacles in your way by doing that. And he just commits to fighting as hard as he would with anyone, with her, kind of pointing out that he's lost to swordswomen before. I think the dialogue here is a little bit like I've lost tons of times. I suppose this is the difference between on screen versus obviously Kirito's like sparred and stuff like that before. And with Kirito, like, there's always the sort of the thing going on of like when he chooses to fight 100% and how many times has he fought 100%. When he's like that, the idea is meant to be that he's kind of unbeatable. So, that's how you sort of make it so that, like, okay, him losing to Yuki, like, was he able to go full on out in just a tournament setting that wasn't life or death, kind of like is going on here? I assume the idea is also that he's potentially lost to Asuna, sparring occasionally, that sort of thing. And then, like, I suppose in real life, Lifa would be actually a better swordswoman than Kirito is a swordsman. So there's those situations of, like, he has a lot of strong female fighters around him, so it's never a problem for him. And he understands that, like, yeah, like, how often would he lose if he did purposely go easy on girls, given how many friends he has who are kind of powerful around him. So I thought that was a kind of interesting one, and especially the dialogue here really got across just this kind of experience. Kirito's goal in all of this, he wants to save this entire world, including the Integrity Knights, I suppose, now that he sort of realizes the intent behind them. And especially, I suppose, getting the backstory for the others, like Lionel and Faisal, that they are just experiments to test the boundaries of, like, advanced healing arts, resurrection arts specifically. So they've died tons of times, they've killed people, and that's why they can kill with a smile. And then because they're sort of different, they don't have the whole they're normal people, but their memories were taken away. But that's still a factor in all of these people, that most of them have just lived normal lives and are this way because something was taken from them. And him just pointing out that, as well, to Yu-Gi-Oh, I suppose, as when Yu-Gi-Oh activates his kind of enhanced armament, the kind of blooming of the blue rose sword and the ice field it creates, and then the thorns beginning to come out, and him kind of harnessing anger as basically the way to power his sword, and him kind of realizing, Kirito pointing out to Yu-Gi-Oh that, no, don't harness anger to do it, because your, like, reasoning behind why you fight is not more valid than hers is. So you have to kind of power it by something else, and not just kind of, I know I'm kind of I'm right and you're wrong type situation. So I like these kind of teaching opportunities that we're kind of getting here, because Yu-Gi-Oh is kind of like that, and they've kind of presenting it's like, since he's kind of broken the seal on his eye, we've started to see just him going pretty hard on some of the emotions, nearly killing, like, the initial Integrity Knight that they fought, and now this anger here, and I suppose Kirito's just showing him the right way to sort of go about things in his mind. And so, yeah, the fight, as I said, really, really well done. The reveal of all the different special powers of the heaven-piercing blade, we get a backstory on that. It was made from this kind of giant mirror kind of situation that they created, an array of mirrors that basically can burn through stone, and all of them together were harnessed into a basically divine object, harnessing the power of the sun, and formed this sword. So that's the idea of any divine weapon originally comes from something else. Kirito's comes from the Gigas tree. We know that Yu-Gi-Oh's is from a kind of special blue rose that bloomed even in ice. So getting in another weapon sort of backstory I thought was really cool. And then the way it works, of just, it's basically, she points her sword at someone and it fires a laser that basically pierces through anything. Then we also got to see her release recollection, the memory release command, which is basically her ultimate technique, where it just basically shoots lasers at any angle randomly. It hits everyone, including herself. So it's this dangerous maneuver, and we see Kirito get pierced multiple times, and this is obviously why he calls kind of Yu-Gi-Oh into action. And we end the episode with the fact that Kirito is just about to reveal what his sword special technique is. Finatio has gotten out of Yu-Gi-Oh's technique, kind of showing that Yu-Gi-Oh still has a bit of a way to go, as this episode I think did a good job of pointing out, that of the two, Kirito is still sort of the veteran of both of them, and we're seeing that in action in this fight against the Vice Commander of the Integrity Knights. So Yu-Gi-Oh is going to learn a lot from seeing Kirito in action here, and it's going to be really, really fun to see Kirito's sword skill the next episode, and especially like where they cut it off. Like, we're going to jump in next episode right with him using that technique. So that is definitely going to be something exciting to see. The opening also changed, I suppose, to more or less tell us, what fights we're going to see next. I won't really talk about that here, because it kind of still is spoilers, even though the opening touches on a lot of it. But like I said at the start, I thought really, really good episode. From the books, I always thought that Faisal and Lionel were one of the kind of slightly weaker parts of it, but I think in the anime here they play their roles really, really well. A great setup before the Finatio fight, and it really does help to sort of do something a little bit different and not just have it be a bunch of similarly sort of like tense fights. They're all just really serious one-on-one fights with the same general theme. Here was something very different in that, like a poisoning, and kind of him teaching them a lesson, and then the setup for this fight. So I think that was pretty well done, and I'm really excited to see we're getting into some pretty important stuff. Like, the name of the next episode is very, very important, and I think we're in a very, very good place here. So that's been my review for this episode. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts were on this episode, but that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.